How much would you invest in an alien technology ETF? That's the question Tuttle Capital is asking, because they just filed for an Alien Tech ETF. New fund to invest in reverse-engineered alien technology based on government disclosures about UFOs. I'm going to read the Financial Times to you. You ready? Here we go. Tuttle Capital has filed to invest in reverse-engineered alien technology with the Tuttle Capital UFO Disclosure AI-powered exchange-traded fund, which is one of 8 new products the manager has registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, regulatory filings show. With the ticker UFOD, big UFOD energy. The actively managed UFO Disclosure AI-powered ETF will invest at least 80% of its net assets in a basket of companies that Tuttle Capital, quote, believes have potential exposure to advanced or reverse-engineered alien technology, spurred by disclosures about UFOs and alleged advanced technologies, the registration statement reads. Those companies will include aerospace groups and defense contractors that may have research and development programs, quote, rumored to work with classified technology, potentially leading to groundbreaking advancements, the filing says. Matthew Tuttle, chief executive of Tuttle Capital, said he had been interested in UFOs, unidentified flying objects, for years. While they are by definition an unknown quantity, Tuttle said he believed investing in UFOs and the technology that they may use could take off once his product hits the market. Quote, I'm a trader. I look at UFOs and I say they're using a power source that is light years beyond anything that we have. If our government has this technology and it's released, well, that would be a game changer. Each ETF will be traded on the SIBO I can't even say it. SIBO BZX exchange. You know, SIBO BZX exchange. The forthcoming products do not have set launch dates or listed fees, according to the filing. The ETF will short companies that are threatened or could be made obsolete because of any, quote, alien-level technology that is discovered, its registration states. UFOD's launch is not a sure thing, however, according to Tuttle. Without sufficient information sourced from government disclosure on UFOs, the product might not go to market, he said. The risky and opaque nature of alien investment is not lost on Tuttle and his firm. Quote, government confirmation or denial of advanced alien tech is uncertain, and rumored breakthroughs might never materialize. This entire theme is highly speculative and subject to rumor cycles, reads a paragraph in the registration statement on the speculative nature of the proposed ETF. There's a list of companies that have long been rumored to have access to reverse-engineered technologies and materials retrieved from various crash recoveries. And I've got a list of them. Philip Corso wrote a book called The Day After Roswell back in the mid to late 90s. And if you read that book and you take Corso at his word, and I do, he talks about being the intelligence officer whose job it was to take materials from crash retrievals and parse them out to different companies.
Tell us what's in the book and how it's doing.
Yeah. Well, the book is really my experiences as I lived them in research and development of the Army under General Trudeau, Arthur Trudeau. And he drew me back in and put me in charge of that and established a Foreign Technology Division for me. And these were the artifacts on a crash flying saucer, which we used the word applied engineering. Was Dr. Teller was still alive, knows he helped him. And we fed these things. He gave me the job of finding industry or scientists who were close to these items and feed us to them in normal R&D projects.
And you're saying these items came from somewhere else?
They came from a flying saucer.
How do you know that?
Because they were marked in the files as coming from New Mexico.
Roswell.
Yeah, it's Roswell. Well, I think some came, there might be another crash, but these came from New Mexico and Roswell especially. And General Trudeau gave me the job of working out a program, put these things out, feed them to industry, but there was provisions feeding it. They could have the patents, but they had to feed them out back to us as a competitive edge of the Army and to the American people and the world if necessary. Like the Japanese interviewed me, and I told them we put the integrated circuit out, and we also gave it to you. And I told the Japanese this right at the interview at Roswell.
Give me a little laundry list of the things that, the technologies that are at least partially responsible from the Roswell.
Well, there's the number one was the integrated circuit. Number two in importance was laser, because I had some laser instruments also. Then fiber optics came out of this. The imaging devices or night viewing devices came from this. Some of the work we did on electromagnetism and the ICBMs.
If you follow that line of thinking, there's a group of companies who started out really early with some really advanced materials, got a head start on everyone else, and then over the next 40, 50, 60 years, people worked on this stuff, left, went to other companies. Some companies merged with other companies. Some were bought by other companies. And there was this sort of cross-pollination that must have happened throughout the defense industry. This is my line of thinking. So just bear with me on this. Journalist Matt Ford, he's also the host of the Good Trouble Show podcast, put out a statement at the beginning of the hearings last November in 2024, talking about something related to this. And I want to show you the statement. So this is his written statement down here. It's on the Good Trouble Show Reddit page. You can read it here. It's 2 pages, but let's just let Matt read it because he does a great job and he makes an excellent point here. So pay close attention to what Matt Ford says here in the next couple of minutes.
Ace, Chairman Grothman, ranking members Connolly and Garcia, and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Ford, an American journalist and host of the Good Trouble Show podcast. Today, I'm introducing damning information regarding the former director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. I am a patriot who cares deeply about our nation's security, but above all, I care about the truth. In November of last year, journalists Christopher Sharp, Josh Boswell, and I published a story in the Daily Mail exposing for the first time the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology's Office of Global Access and its classified UAP crash recovery program. Last weekend, Christopher Sharp published a follow-up article in the Liberation Times, providing further detail on how the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology operates its UAP crash recovery and reverse engineering programs through the Office of Global Access and the CIA's Counter-Proliferation Mission Center, or WCPMC. The head of the Directorate of Science and Technology serves as the primary gatekeeper of the entire UAP Deep Legacy program, overseeing operations such as the detection of UAPs through classified platforms, recovery operations, disbursement of recovered craft to government agencies and private defense contractors, and protection of derived off-world technologies. Glenn Gaffney, the former head of the Directorate of Science and Technology, is one of those gatekeepers. Last year, I revealed that Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the former director of AARO, had assembled a secret technical advisory group to counsel AARO. Following my story, Dr. Kirkpatrick confirmed the existence of this committee to members of Congress, but refused to disclose the members' identities. As of 2 weeks ago, this classified advisory board continues to advise AARO. Multiple sources have confirmed that Glenn Gaffney, the former head of the Directorate of Science and Technology and gatekeeper of the UAP Deep Legacy program, was handpicked by Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick to be on this advisory board. I must emphasize this. the most consequential person involved with the cover-up of non-human technology is advising the office which Congress has given a mandate to find these technologies. This is an abomination. This is unconstitutional. This is criminal. Also concerning is the fact that Glenn Gaffney is not the only Aero Advisory Board member who is involved with the Legacy Crash Retrieval and Reverse Engineering Program. There are others whose names have not yet been divulged to me. These revelations are significant because one of Aero's primary missions is to provide a means for government whistleblowers to make protected disclosures on classified UAP Special Access Programs, or SAPs, and Controlled Access Programs, or CAPs, to Aero and its staff. The fact that Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick chose as one of his primary advisors the very gatekeeper overseeing CIA-controlled UAP access programs raises serious questions about Dr. Kirkpatrick's true motives as the director of Aero. This reporting indicates that Aero may function as a fly-paper operation, intercepting whistleblowers' testimonies and feeding their identities back to the CIA. You have heard that there are whistleblowers who don't trust Aero. My sources have informed me that this is one of the reasons why. If the CIA intercepts their testimony before it reaches Congress, whistleblowers are in grave danger. Therefore, I employ you to wield your subpoena powers against hostile witnesses, such as Glenn Gaffney, former PDD&I Stephanie O'Sullivan, and the former head of the CIA's Office of Global Access, Douglas Wolfe. Dozens of whistleblowers are depending on you. I also encourage this committee to subpoena emails between former Senior Intelligence Officer David Grush and Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. These emails contain written evidence that Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick is not being truthful with Congress regarding his knowledge of classified UAP controlled access programs.
So here you've got Matt Ford describing the CIA's Office of Global Access and the Directorate of Science and Technology and their roles in the program. Office of Global Access, at least according to the reporting that Ford has done with Chris Sharp, is responsible for getting in and out of all the places where these vehicles crash and arranging all of that and basically overseeing that whole thing. That's my understanding. Directorate of Science and Technology is a different group. Their task is to take the technology that gets recovered and decide who gets what. So again, we have a system. The one that Colonel Corso described is at least an early version of this, where the Army intelligence people were trying to figure out what they could do with the technology that they had recovered. And it seems like a similar program has been just running in the background the whole time, or probably multiple different programs. And this is another one. So now you've got a list of companies that are favored companies that have been given access to technology thousands or perhaps millions of years beyond anything that we have. That is like the goose that lays the golden egg. So if you are one of these companies and you're sitting on technology like that, that's worth all the jelly beans, right? So stick with me here. We're going to take another detour. Daily Mail, 9 January 2024. Take a look at this. UFO whistleblower held secret talk with Wall Street bigwigs and CIA officials in Manhattan, where he claimed U.S. was in possession of a 40-foot TARDIS-like craft that was the, quote, size of a football field when you stepped inside. Dig that. Former U.S. intelligence officer David Grush held a secret UFO presentation, and he revealed new details about the U.S.'s UAP retrieval program to 60 people. So stick with me. We're going to read through a little bit of this here, and then we'll come back and talk about it. A UFO whistleblower shared new details of a TARDIS-like craft in government possession during a secret meeting in New York City. Now, remember, this is from January of 2024. So beginning of January 2024. Decorated former Air Force intelligence officer David Grush claims his sources worked on a 40-foot UAP that was, quote, the size of a football field when they stepped inside, according to one attendee at the event. The object could manipulate both space and time and could harness enough energy to power 70,000 homes a year, the source said. DailyMail.com understands that guests included officials from the FBI, CIA, Department of Homeland Security, tech entrepreneurs, and Wall Street bigwigs. All in, Grush gave the talk to 60 people at a penthouse in Manhattan, and photos were banned from the event. Well, obviously, that didn't go so well. Here's the gallery. Jay Stratton. The only information about the meeting was leaked by an anonymous attendee who took pictures of Grush. DailyMail.com has since verified that the meeting took place and was told by sources that Coinbase advisor John D'Agostino and high-powered attorney John J. Altarelli hosted the event. Coinbase is a publicly traded company that operates a cryptocurrency exchange platform. The two men are said to host monthly events at the penthouse apartment focusing on different topics. The leaker said, quote, it was hosted by a Wall Street bigwig and his lawyer friend. That's how it starts. It was a sort of a small saloon-style talk. David also did it for free, even went as far as to fly to NYC just for this. He arrived only a few hours beforehand and then left first thing the next day. The idea was to get a group of both skeptics and believers from all these different walks of life for a talk regarding David and the things he has said. Most of the people who left had left as believers. So this is the group that he was talking to over a year ago. Shortly after that, Carl Nell appears at the SALT conference and says there is zero doubt that non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. And this interaction has been going on for a long time. Watch this clip of Carl Nell giving this presentation to a group of Wall Street bigwigs.
So, Carl, maybe to begin, can you share a little bit about your background, who you are, and perhaps why people should care what you say?
Sure. Well, thanks, Alex. It's a pleasure and honor to be here, and it's a fantastic event, and I'm glad to see a large bunch of folks that stuck it out to the end for this talk. So I was fortunate. I had a four-year ROTC scholarship to Penn. I graduated with a degree in electrical engineering. The Army sent me overseas to do signal corps engineering projects, so I did a lot of strategic comm projects in Europe. I ended up working in Army Space Command. I commanded a satellite ground station, war trace to the Joint Chiefs. I spent some time at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The Army ultimately sent me to get a master's in mechanical engineering, a master's in strategic studies, graduate work in computer science. I was on track to stay in, but I decided that I wanted to pursue more of a technical career. So I got out and ended up working at Bell Labs, which was a fantastic place. Unfortunately, I was there during the trivestiture that folks may be familiar with, where the company got split up. I left Bell Labs and ended up working in Lockheed Missiles and Space. I worked at Northrop Grumman. I've ran strategic technology programs in the defense industry, worked for a lot of the three-letter agencies, ultimately was a deputy chief of staff, or deputy CTO for a $2 billion company. I was a vice president general manager of a Northern Virginia-based R&D firm. I stayed in the military, in the reserve. I commanded at every grade level through brigade. I was fortunate to stand up the Army's newest expeditionary MI brigade. I was the deputy chief of staff for a combatant command. Ultimately, this experience sort of combined to give me the opportunity to come in and advise Army Futures Command, the largest reorganization in the Army Reserve since really 1973, on how the Army could be more effective. And my last assignment was involved with the UAP task force, which maybe is the most apropos for this discussion.
And so, Carl, here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe that a higher form of non-human intelligence has visited this planet?
Right. So non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity. This interaction is not new, and it's been ongoing. And there are unelected people in the government that are aware of that.
And so, Carl, that is quite a bold statement. I'm wondering, and I'm curious, how confident are you that that is true?
There's zero doubt.
You heard where he worked. This is a guy on the inside who clearly knows what technology is in the hands of whom. And who is he talking to? A group of Wall Street bigwigs. Venture capitalists, venture fund people, investors. I mean, listen to this. This is the profile on the SALT page. Benefiting from over 30 years of organizational and technology leadership in top-tier Fortune 500 firms, including Bell Telephone Labs, Lockheed Martin Missiles and Space, TASC, CACI, and ENSCO. Carl Nell is a seasoned executive, respected thought leader, and dedicated change agent, and accomplished multidisciplinary engineer, comfortable across multiple business models from aerospace, high-end development to integrated solutions to advisory services, as consistently successful actualizing board-directed initiatives driving profitable growth as achieving operational success within the defense, intelligence, federal, civil, and commercial sectors. Carl has variously served as vice president and general manager, leading in national security R&D division, supporting elite classified customers. Who could that be? That's who is addressing Wall Street right now. And In-Q-Tel, interestingly, this is a separate thing going back to the Matt Ford statement. But In-Q-Tel is the venture capital arm of the Central Intelligence Agency. They basically strategically invest in companies that are positioned to develop technologies that would be a benefit to the CIA and its various missions around the world. And here's my question, and tying this all back to the Alien Tech ETF. Are we looking at a situation where the people really pushing disclosure right now, the group behind it all, essentially is private equity, private investors that want to roll this technology out and get it out of these black programs and into actual use? The person who was, I'm stretching here, the person who was interviewing Carl Nell is Alex Klokas. Alex Klokas is currently funding the project that Jake Barber has launched to summon or attract and potentially capture a UAP. So the Skywatcher program. He was the one interviewing Carl Nell. Alex Klokas and Jordan Lewin, I don't know how to say that last name, and I don't want to mispronounce it, founded the technology news website Futurism through a Knight Foundation grant in 2017, with Forbes subsequently reporting later that year that the site received more than 3 million visitors a month, with its media content generating over 140 million monthly views. Futurism entered partnerships with the Prime Minister's office in Dubai to offer an Arabic language version of Futurism, and the White House for South by Southlawn and other events. They also invented the gravity blanket, believe it or not. Was developed by Futurism. So Futurism gets sold to Singularity University, a group called Singularity University. Singularity University is Peter Diamandis and Ray Kurzweil. There's Peter. Peter Diamandis created the X Prize. Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil, and the Singularity University people, the clue is in the name, are transhumanists. And not that that's a bad thing necessarily, but they are trying to usher in a bold vision of a really high-tech new future that would, at least in the most optimistic scenario, sort of be a technological utopia, post-consumerism, post-capitalist techno-utopia. At least as much as I understand Kurzweil's vision of a post-singularity world, it would look a lot like Star Trek, but probably way more advanced. So that's the group. So now follow me on this journey of self-discovery here. We're starting with this idea of a ETF that represents a basket of companies that have exposure or likely exposure to reverse engineered or recovered alien technology, and shorting companies that they compete against. So far, I'm with you. But the bigger question is, what's going on here behind the scenes in the disclosure world that's propelling all of this stuff forward? And I'm starting to suspect more and more, the more I look at it, that as Wall Street becomes more and more interested in this topic and laser locked on it, for one, it shows me that there's definitely a there. And two, it seems like that would be the thing that would bring a lot of this technology to light. There's a lot of problems in the world, and there's much money to be made solving those problems, but we need new technology, quantum leap technology, to get to the solutions that are going to be required to deal with the global scale of problems that we have. Like pulling carbon out of the atmosphere at scale is going to require limitless amounts of energy. It's going to require an enormous amount of very cheap energy to desalinate the amount of water or create the right amount of drinking water to take care of everyone on the planet. So with the right application of technology and some wisdom, some common sense and some wisdom, it should be possible to create a world that is a techno-utopia. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. I don't think it's likely that we'll get there. And I think that has a lot more to do with just humans being dicks. But I can see a path here. I can see a path. It's interesting to see this unfold, and it will be very interesting to see as this conversation evolves over the next 10, 15, 20 years, how different corporations play this and what happens with the technologies that we see emerge from all of this. How does that play out? And how does it affect not just our economy, but how does it affect life? You and me. Another question, I want you to chew on this. Elon Musk is now charged with essentially auditing the Pentagon and cutting waste. How much information does he have access to? And if his competitors are sitting on alien technology, will he be able to discover that? And if he discovers it, what's he going to do with that information? Is he going to tell us, or is he going to leverage it for something else? Is this a case of the immovable object coming into contact with the unstoppable force? What happens here? How does this all game out? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you for watching. And hey, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second, doesn't cost anything, and it really helps us out. It's a heavy lift to build this channel from scratch, and we can use all the help we can get. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, keep looking up.